So it's the 15th of August today, a little later than usual, but I've been waiting for the weather to be good enough for filming. Quite a lot to show you. Today is the first day that I've really felt, oh, I can feel autumn in the air, which is a very frightening thought. The agapanthus have been amazing. And every visitor that comes comments about how large they are, so I've been enjoying those on the pots on the patio. But yeah, let's have a look at the rest of the garden. Can't wait to show you. So I'd say the highlight, or one of the highlights at the moment, is the helichrysum. They are amazing and just keep going till November. They're only just about right for cutting for drying, but obviously I can use them fresh as well. So I've got some pinks here with a little touch of salmon rose on the end. The other things that are still looking good are the snapdragons. They are keeping going, and so far certainly this one here, which I think is an ivory one, has not shown signs of rust. It's just a question of just keep cutting them back and you'll get slightly smaller, shorter stems, but still really good. The other thing that's looking good are the cosmos cupcake. These were sown at the beginning of May, so my succession sowing is much better this year. So these are still coming on, whereas the ones that were sown earlier are like this kind of height. So yeah, love these just for a little bit of a change. And also the scabiosa is looking good too. This is all autumn sown. It's gone pretty tall and some of it's a bit wiggly, not quite sure why, but compared to the spring sown, which is probably down to this sort of height, which I'll show you later, it's looking good. Remarkably, the sweet peas are still going. I thought they were on their last legs last month and mildew was starting to come, which it still is, but I've still got some lovely green trails here which I'm able to use, which is fabulous. And as you can see, look at the height of that cosmos. Pretty good hair. I haven't cleared the larkspur bed yet. I'm planning to do some seed saving. Most of these aren't quite ripe yet, and I just really need to hang on to one or two plants. Some of them are just starting to ripen up. These are still a little bit green, but as they develop they'll go browner like this, and then on a nice hot dry day I can start harvesting some of the seed. So just in that one little pod I've got all this seed. I'm jumping between beds a little bit, but I just want to show you the zinnias just over on the other side. Zinnias thrive in hot weather, and fortunately we've had a little bit on and off. The Queen Red Lime is really coming into its own, fantastic for the autumn. And I've also had some State Fair here, which are brighter colours, but I've done a lot of cutting for those this week, and a smaller variety called Cinderella in lilac, which is actually more pink, just over there. So yeah, they're coming along nicely. And once again, a second flush of snapdragon apple blossom. really delighted to still be using these. And finally, we'll just have a quick check on the phlox on the other side of the arch. Two different sorts here. Phlox drumondii, this is cherry caramel, and it has this kind of reddish centre. I've cut a lot of stems of this week, so it's looking a little bit sparse. And then we've got creme brulee, which are these lovely sort of antique-y colours. As we're on the subject of phlox, this is a succession sowing. I don't know if it's too late or not, but I sowed these in May and these replaced the lavatera. So I'd love it if I was able to have a bit of a flush in sort of September time, September, October time, but we'll see. I'm not sure that we're going to get much growth on them. Have to see next month. It's all looking a bit weedy down here, but what I would like to show you is the spring sown summer fruit scabious. The tithonia is looking gorgeous. Cosmos, fairly standard. Irish poet Amelia is quite an unusual one. Again, a pop of orange in the right circumstances. I took out the cornflower and nigella that were here, and I've got my next lot of panicum, frosted explosion in here, and I've put in 4 plants of amaranthus velvet curtains. I've got quite a crop in the greenhouse of this. Oh, and a bit of soteria grass too. I've got a bit of a mixed bag in the perennials department. The sea lavender, I'm about to harvest that for drying actually. Verbena bonariensis, of course, is looking fabulous. And the Gypsophila paniculata is also in its prime at the moment. Most of the other things have gone over. The gooseneck loosestrife is just about finished. The Achillea the pearls got terribly mildewy, and the echinops is also just about finished. The greenhouse is looking pretty empty at the minute. The pelargonium, of course, is really coming into its own now. Oh, absolutely love that. The scent is divine. I've started sowing some hardy annuals. Now, I'm not going to let them germinate in the greenhouse. It's just too hot. So these are actually just about to go up to the house. So these are going to go in the house where I can keep an eye on them and watch them as they germinate. Right, let's have a look in the big greenhouse. Okay, in desperation, I put up a bit of bird deterrent. I was finding that blackbirds were coming into the greenhouse and then getting themselves stuck. So this seems to have done the job, just some old stuff that I found lying around. Let's take a look. Okay, I'm not going to spend too long in here. It's getting quite hot already. All this amaranthus and panicum frosted explosion has just self-seeded. And I've taken off the main central stem. It was just getting a bit too top heavy, and just to encourage these lower stems here, so I can either dry it or I can use it in bouquets and arrangements. These biennials, the biennials have all been potted on. They're about to get out of the greenhouse. We had a couple of sort of rainy, windy days, and so I just wanted to give them a bit of protection, but they're going to bake if they stay in here for too much longer. So I'm going to put them outside, just in a sort of north-facing position, just to let them grow on, and don't get too stressed with the heat. The other things I've got in here, the zinnias. To be honest, they're doing better outside. The celosia are fab, I keep forgetting to cut those. So I've got a selection of the zinnia. I've got the Cinderella in lilac and also some in peach. I've got a few Queen Red Lime as well. Okay, time to have a look in the final area, the dahlias. I think you're going to notice a big difference in the dahlias. Yeah, looking much more even now, so most things have pretty much caught up. Still got the odd dahlia that's a bit behind because of the slug attack, but yeah, they really are quite gorgeous now. My favourite this year is probably New Baby, but I've got some beauties. So the new dahlias are looking really strong. And the ones that were struggling last month, they are at least showing a little bit of promise now. Still struggling a little bit, and I did do a second application of nematodes, so we'll see. But yeah, the white ones are all looking fine. Okay, I'm going to take you around and show you some of the flowers on the other side. Just in case I didn't have enough cosmos, I managed to get the rest of my plants in the ground quite some time ago now, and they were quite small when I went in, but they're really looking great now, or certainly coming into their own. Now the Daucus, this bed of Daucus, I did sow this as a hardy annual, and I sowed it in the spring, so I'm hoping for a sort of September, October flowering. One is already flowering, as you can see. The rest of the plants are now looking really healthy, but whether they flower for the autumn, I don't know. I might have missed the boat. The bees are just having a fabulous time in the garden. Okay, one final thing to show you. I really want to show you the auroch, which is looking magnificent in seed at the minute, and there's just a few little things in the other patch over there. Let's take a look. So isn't the auroch magnificent? Yeah, it goes from what looks like a muckweed, as we call it over here, to this wonderful seed head here, which dries beautifully, as well as obviously being able to use fresh in arrangements, which fingers crossed I'm hoping to do next weekend if it'll hang on in there. Again, these were spring sown snapdragons, and they came out a little bit shorter than the autumn sown, which is sort of what you'd expect, and actually that's not a bad thing. And then some spring sown scabiosa, and then a little patch of soteria grass, which is the first to get in the ground and is so much stronger than the others. Finally, and unusually, I'm going to finish off by showing you my amazing apples. So these are Discovery apples, and they are just absolutely delicious, and what can be better than actually picking an apple from the tree and just eating it straight away. absolutely delicious. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. Pop any questions that you want into the comments box and I'll try to deal with them. In the meantime, I'll see you next month, middle of next month. Bye-bye.